mercy, what a stop!
My goodness, what a save!
What a save! What a glove save there, but what a stop! Looked like a sure goal. You talk about an A+ save and maybe the save of the night.
Welcome to the Goalie Science Podcast, where we break down the science of goaltending, coaching, and everything in between. I'm Dr. Jamie Phillips, former professional goalie, board-certified physical therapist, and goalie performance specialist, alongside my co-host, Derek Boujan, owner of Boujan Goaltending and On Ice Hockey Performance Center. Whether you're on your way to a game, gearing up for practice, or just tuning in, grab your favorite drink and let's drop the puck on this week's episode. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Goalie Science Podcast. I believe it's 132. Could do wrong. I'm usually wrong with those kind of things. Bouge, I believe there's a little bit of congratulations in order. We're going to pump Weston Sires Eagle, but we don't follow Bouge on social media. Might not know what I'm talking about. Do you know our Weston tournament? Just the cool pictures. He looks happy. I've never seen him smile before, so it's nice.
Well, I'm wearing the championship shirt. I don't think I've taken it off since Sunday, and that's probably not a joke. But proud to say the least. Yeah, 7 games. We went 6-0-1. He went 3-0-1. 1-1 tie against Mississauga Reps. I would say that we finally found a little bit of our mojo as a team, and we've beat some good teams, and it was really nice to play. We ended up playing Guelph in the final, so it was the Niagara North Memorial Classic. For those of us in Canada, it's Remembrance Day. So we played Guelph, who's in our league, who we haven't seen yet, but it's fun because there was a couple kids on Guelph that he played with in Hamilton last year, so there was like a nice little rivalry there, and all weekend I was texting with Mark Sheardown, who's a buddy of mine, who's the manager for that team, just saying, hey, maybe we might end up in the finals together. It was kind of a joke because two probably underachieving teams. But, hey, it worked out. They played really well. They got a good team. This team is coached by Brian Wilsey. I don't know if anybody knows who Brian Wilsey is, but he's like the director of player development for the Colorado Avalanche. So, like, to say he's got a good resume. So it was a fun little chess match because it took me about a period to figure out kind of what they were doing and to kind of counter. But trying to counter with 10-year-old kids is not always the easiest thing in game. So it was a lot of fun. But we did end up pulling it a 3-2 win. Our goaltending all weekend was they fought on him and his boy partner Luca.
Is that his first ever big tournament win?
That's his first tournament. Yeah, like year 9 we had a wagon of a team, so we didn't lose a game, so we won. He go play finals and get one shot. So this was like legit first tournament win, and it was a good weekend, long weekend. Like I said last week, I was in 2 tournaments. My team was in the tournament. We ended up losing in the semifinals 4-2 to a good Nepean team, and so like kilometers on the truck were just click, 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 click. Like it was a monster of a weekend, but it ended with the right note, and it ended with a couple Coors Lights because Bud Light doesn't pay me. They service.
Thanks, Brock. No, good from him. I'm glad that he got a win. He looked pretty jazzed up in the pictures that I saw. And, it's always nice to have a trophy. So now you got to keep his ego in check. So now it's a whole new thing.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem.
Oh, that's good. Good. I'm trying to think. I forgot what we were on to talk about today. I'm in a good mood today, finally. It's been a while. I started taking a significant amount of magnesium at night, and I actually wake up feeling not awful, which is the first time 5 years that I've started to wake up feeling not awful. And you know what? We've been ripping on kids not working hard the last couple of weeks, but I have 2 or 3 goalies that will skate with me every Wednesday at 6 a.m. and I get 4 or 5 shooters to come out shoot. And then I have 16 AAA girl will come in and work out at 7 a.m. for school every Wednesday. And it fires me up when athletes want it. Talk about athletes that don't want it. And it's so much more enjoyable. Like now I'm in a good mood. I got my magnesium at night, waking up okay. And I'm getting athletes that I don't have to push and nag on and drag, because they're up before I am. They're beating me to the door, so they want to work hard. not now. I'm in a good mood. So we're good.
Like you see all the memes going around is like if a coach has to coach effort, then you don't have a coach. And coaches are supposed to, you don't want to coach as a cheerleader. And I find like we say this all the time. We know which kids are working hard. We know which kids want it. And as coaches, like we get into coaching for two reasons. Number one, you just want to help and you want to volunteer and you want to uh, just like be around kids that are enjoying the game and you help. Like, and you need those people. You absolutely grassroots, house leagues, low level rep. You need those people. Those people are the reason that they function. That they are the bloodline of that hometown or small town organizational athletics. Or you get into coaching because you were a player and you have that athletic and that competitiveness. And that's me and you. We're in this because like, well, you got close, but this is now my NHL. Like I like coaching because it's competitive. It challenges me. You got to find ways to put kids in that position to have success. And we want to coach like-minded athletes. We want to coach kids that want to get better. We want to coach kids that are pushing us to be better coaches. And that's the big thing. I want a kid that asks a tough question where I think about it for a second tomorrow. Man, I never thought of that. Right? Okay, give me a sec. Let me think this through. And in my brain, I'm trying to now navigate what he said so that I can give an appropriate response to help him learn. Those are the two types of coaching. And me and you being second of that, we want like-minded athletes that push us, that challenge us to be better because we're going to do the same thing. And then that's where you build that bond together.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It's just nice. It's nice, especially when you wake up at 5 in the morning or 4:50 when I wake up to get out there and they're pushing each other. They're having fun, asking questions, being engaged is great actually. And then on the flip side of that, we Coach Ben Ducci, not to be confused with Coach Ben Dr. Cernak. We have a new policy where we've been a little bit more strict about kicking athletes out of the gym. Where it's November. They've been training for like 3 months with us in the gym. They know how our standard is. They know what's a demand. Obviously, when kids are young, but you'd be surprised how many like 14 to 16-year-olds we've had to kick out of the gym for a period of time, meaning 10 minutes. So basically a little timeout or the remainder of the day, depending. But even last night, so I didn't coach yesterday night because my wife is sick. And I got a text from Ben. It's like, I kicked so-and-so out. So, okay, is you look to, okay, why? He's actually just like complaining, said this was hurting. So we gave her like a different thing to do and was complaining and then complaining. And he's like, I just kicked her out. I'm like, good. Like, good. Like you either want to come in and get better or you don't. And like your parents are spending a lot of money for you to be there. The parents are investing a lot. And you know what? This girl she's a good athlete and she's a good hockey player. She needs to improve her attitudes and we don't want her to bring down other players, especially in the team training sense. That's a really big thing. So we've tightened our ship a little bit and it's good. I think it's slowly changing. Also speaking of tight ship, I had a sport major through 9 years old.
Squirt is Weston is a squirt. So he's the same age as Weston.
Yeah, 9 or 10.
And in the US, you guys have stupid names for things.
We do have stupid names for things here. But we were doing this. This was like maybe about a month ago when we were doing like basically a team. We do all just team stuff, like gamify it, and we were doing sled pushes, and they were battling, and it was pretty good. And this kid just hawked a loogie on my turf. He was looking at me too, like he wasn't looking at me, but he's like kind of looking through me, and I just was like, "Excuse me, did you just spit on it?" He goes, "No." Yeah, and I was so shocked and mad. I had to call Ben over. I was like, "What do I do?" He's like, well, I don't know what to do because I'm going to kick him out in the snap. And he's just like, okay, we'll just make him have to do 200 calories on the bike. So the whole team on the
200? 200 calories. You made a 10-year-old do 200 calories on the bike?
We have 4 bikes, and it was a team effort because they're a team. One plays the same play all the. Yeah, the bike had to show 200 before we can go back to traditional lifts, and it took them 2 full workouts. But that was it. 2 full workouts because we were one and a half because we were halfway through the one. And I went to the coach. I just said like, hey, one of your players just spit on turf, and one that's not acceptable. If it happens again, we're obviously kick him out. But they owe us gas on the bike, and he goes, yep, nope, makes sense. And it's their credit. They all did it. They did it in just a rotation, and it took a workout and a half. But I wasn't like, that was our punishment. I didn't ask him. I was like, why do you think I did this? Do you think this was acceptable, an action to do by spitting? And do you think it was acceptable punishment? All the kids were like, yeah, I got it. Would you guys spit like in the parents' house, like on the carpet and things like that? So like, why are we spitting indoors? Don't you see that? And then it's like, why do you think I made everyone do it and not just so do it? And then just explain to them that their team, just like someone turns over the puck, we all have to back check. If our goalie gives up a bad goal, we all have to find a way to get that goal back. And so that was a punishment, and the kids actually had a really solid after that. But that was the first time I've actually ever seen anyone just spit on indoor turf. And I was just so shocked.
Well, yeah, kids are donkeys, and they'll be donkeys again. You were a donkey, and I was a donkey. My kid's a super donkey. So, and funny for those, it's funny because they coach spring hockey, and I always say donkey because people around me, believe it or not, I do try and swear less than I actually do. And although everybody who just heard me say that is now laughing because it's not possible. But I was coaching spring hockey, and after the first tournament, his old man sent me a text message and said, "What did you learn from Booge this week?" He's like, "I learned that donkey means ass, and that if I do what he says, I will play a lot." I just started laughing because I do say donkey all the time. But it's never any good lessons.
No.
I want to go back to like where you said about bringing the vibes down. So those, hopefully the AI does Unreal with an audio because you are in a coffee shop, and I think you're so scared to look like a loser that you're like whispering and like talking. So for 2 episodes in a row, you actually brought vibes up, and today you were bringing the vibe down with your very monotone. So when everybody listens to it, just JV is too afraid to look ridiculous in a coffee shop, so he's trying to be very, very calm.
I'm not afraid to look ridiculous. I'm afraid to disrupt the people around me by yelling because I get excited.
And I'm telling them they're disrupting us, and so
That is true. This is my way of staying level-headed. When we're talking about the kids being donkeys, 2 breaks. I wish we had an editor so that we could just like film the podcast how we normally speak, which is every second word a swear word, and then we release like an edited version and then an unedited version. But I was watching. I found this thing super interesting. I think it was on TikTok, which is obviously the most factual and correct information, where I get all of the information from. But it was talking about. It was a teacher talking, and she was trying to explain why kids today seem so bad and so rambunctious and stuff. And I feel like every generation says that. But she was trying to give her explanation, and the biggest thing she says, parents no longer parent other people's kids. And I thought that was like a really interesting thing where like, I remember you growing up too. Like if I was at the neighbor's house and I did something stupid, the other parents would be, what do you do? And they call my parents. We have a discussion, and there's that. And now I see it like a lot of times the kids do something and the other person's parent doesn't say anything. And relating that back to coaching, when the kids are young, I understand kids are young, but going back, like talking about the 14 and 16-year-olds, it's surprising how many of these kids that I almost have in terms of like general things. And I'm curious because, for you were both like a father figure and a brother figure for what's your kind of take on like parenting coach kids, or are you more trying to be a positive guidance towards those kids?
Oh, well, I think every kid is different, right? You got to treat every kid individually. You got to learn them. Like we said this a million times. The best coaches are the ones that understand their athlete the best. Now, I haven't said that. Is it possible to be able to fully understand every kid you coach? But that's why you're going to have like your core, say 10, that you build a stronger relationship with them. Maybe your other 40 or 50, however many you have. So that's number one. Number two, now that with you is different, I was younger. Like I'm only 9 years older than you. So it was more of a big brother type of thing. So now that when I have kids that are say 15, 14, 15, 16, it's a little bit of a different dynamic because I'm now about probably the same age as their parents, maybe a little bit younger. But it's more of a father, or like I say, I'm the cool uncle. So it's different, but I'm definitely the one like, okay, yeah, wow. That is like, I'm going to hold every kid accountable. I hold myself accountable. I can be the hard ass. I also am the guy that can put the arm around the shoulder and I can talk to him. I have an office in my training place. And I would say every kid that comes in and they cry, like I have criers in there all the time. And it's, then they feel bad because they don't want to cry in front of me. And I have to remind them, I'd be like, there's been 70 kids before you that have come in this room and cried. Like, it's okay. And I like that they can do that and they feel comfortable with me to do that. That is like the biggest joy you get from coaching and being in that mentor role. But you're definitely, and like an aha moment went off when you said parents don't parent other kids anymore. I remember that I'd go to my neighbor's house and same thing. This old man would kick me in the ass. And now it's like you call your kid's friend. You're like, don't tell me how to parent my kid. And like that's what's happened in society, where unless they're getting that at home, they can't accept it anywhere else. And then it's the parents that take that as like my Johnny is the most perfect kid in the world. He doesn't do anything wrong. No, Johnny's a dumbass. Johnny just hides it from you really well. Like I see it because I'm in two different teams' rooms. I see the dumbassness. They're all dumbasses, but they're awesome. They are really good at hiding it from you as parents, because same thing. I got to go in that room and I got to be like, hey, what's Weston around when I'm not here? Because he's smart enough to know what my expectations for him when I'm watching him. But then when I'm out the door, I know he's silly. I know he could be so that he gets in there and like is involved in some crap that he should be. I'm not having my blinders on. Now, those boys they doing less than that snitch and get stitches, so I don't get a lot out of them because they got been caught too. But you're right. Like parenting other kids doesn't happen anymore. And I don't know, like I'm not in a position that's way above my pay grade of $0 overall to be able to say whether that is a good thing or a bad thing. But you hit the nail on the head with that for sure.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think like it is slightly different. It's easy for us as coaches to like discipline kids in athletic setting because it's expected. Now, like talking to those 9-year-olds about spitting on the turf, I had to try to make it a little bit more of like that, and that was what really like brought that up in my brain when I was talking about it, because I had to try to explain, like, is this something you would do at home? Is this acceptable? Like, you cannot act like this outside of the house. And that reminded me of that TikTok where like if you go to your friend's house and you spit on their carpet, obviously the parent there should be, in my mind, there should be some discipline or something there. And you're right. It's like, oh, that would never happen. Don't you dare yell at my kid. Don't you dare do these things. Like you said, like it's usually the kids that think the parents that think their kids are like perfect angels. These kids are the worst ones. The worst ones. They are always the worst ones. And it cracks me up. But hopefully I think a lot. That's why I like athletics and sports, because
So I'm gonna interrupt you because you're gonna go off on a tire. I like what you said there about how you made the whole team, because like I'm a big Instagram guy, but they keep popping up and I sometimes I repost them. but it was one that I reposted last week when it said the best teams hold each other accountable. It's not on the coach to hold them accountable. So when you be a 9-year-old that spits on your turf and you make the entire team do an absolute bagger. For those who don't know, 200 calories on a bike is it ain't fun.
It took an hour.
Yeah, like you are instilling those principles of holding each other accountable into that team. Like you are already helping build leadership qualities where, and I said this to my captain, like I coach a U12 team at Richmond. I had zero intention of ever giving letters and captains to an 11-year-old. I just didn't believe it. I didn't think till U13, I didn't think it was something that should happen. Now with our group, we have a very distinct divide of kids that are very, very mature and then kids that are still a little bit silly, right? So we got to a point, and it was kind of a big part of our year where it's like, okay, we're going to give some of these guys some responsibility and some leadership, and we're going to put letters on 3 guys. And the big reason is because I am doing all the accountability. I'm holding them to a standard. I'm holding them accountable. I don't always want to have to be the bad guy. Like it's not fun always being the bad guy. And now we're trying to teach our leaders to, hey, I don't want to go in and tell them that they got to be ready in 5 minutes. Hey, I want you to have to do that because the best teams, the players will hold each other accountable. And I like that you did that. That was a really good move.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And you know what? I'll give that team credit. They didn't complain about, well, actually, for 2 seconds, they complained, why do we have to do it as a team? And then they all did it, and they did it well. And when we had that talk at the end, they all understood, they all nodded. And we do that for everything where, and kids do all the time. Well, I wasn't the one goofing off. I got to tell them. And it's starting to slowly get better because now you'll see some more 13, 14-year-olds step up. You're like, hey, like, let's focus. What are we doing? Like, stop messing around. Like, we need to get this done. And it's good. And then hopefully that carries over because, again, like I didn't even think about the creating leader portion of it, but it does build that camaraderie and the team sense because that's probably the best time to build that team unity is off ice things. Like,
for sure.
Or going out to do things as a team, or like, and that's when you build that connectivity. And so hopefully it started to carry over a little bit more on the ice. It's hard, like you said. I think the biggest thing is the maturity gap between kids. There was like we have kids that are just donkeys. Then we have other kids that come in are just workhorses, and like you just kind of get it. And so it's we're trying to herd the donkeys, but then when you see those workhorses, I always try to make sure, be like, hey, like you did well today, and so that they know that their suffering in silence isn't going unnoticed, and hopefully that builds them up and keeps them motivated.
Yeah, no, I love it, and that's our job as coaches. Is we're trying to, and we say this all the time, is when we're looking to hire, we're looking to hire athletes because they're leaders, and all these things that we do and we challenge them to do are what we're trying to instill so that they're employable adult. And it is part of like we are definitely not a parent to them. We're something else. We're not a friend. We're not a parent. We're somewhere in the middle of in between. But we're trying to be support for the parents, and hopefully we get the support from the parents also. But we're all working. And I've been saying this a lot this year because I'm running a business. I'm running. I'm doing D development now. I'm doing goalie development. I'm on a bench for 2 teams. It takes a village. Like I've never noticed it more than I have this year, that it takes a village to develop all of these athletes. Like it literally takes players and players, teammates, parents, coaches, assistant coaches, managers, parents of your teammates. Like it takes everybody doing it together, all pulling the rope the same way to get any traction. And I've never noticed that more than I have this year. And that's something moving forward that I'm going to be way more cognizant of. And when we come back to coaching, like your guys, your head coach, you called the head coach and say, hey, I did this. And he was like, absolutely, I love it. Because those guys also understand that it takes a village. If you want to succeed, it's way more than what you just see on the ice.
Yeah, No, I love that. Before we move on to that kind of goalie topic, I think, yeah, finding that line between like we're not parents, we're not friends. I mean, I guess that's what you call a coach, right? A coach is, you use the word completely in definition. A coach is a coach. But I think it's actually one thing I'll see a lot of is, especially as the athletes get older, and uh, I notice it a lot more with Coach Ben because I want him to be. We kind of have like a good cop, bad cop a little bit, where I tend to be a little bit more the bad cop, which I don't mind. Although Ben can be a good, he can be a bad cop, but a lot of the kids like are, once they're getting to like that 15, 16, you can tell like they're trying to figure out like, are we friends? Like, can I get away with this because we're buddies? And we both are on the same page in terms, like we know that like when you come in here, whether you're on the ice or on the gym, like this is the coach hat, this is the professional, the athlete hat. Listen, once you're done at Fox, we can be friends. But when you're here at training, we need to dial it in. And it's funny because I see it more on like the girls hockey side where they tend to be a little bit more like butthurt when they're trying to be friendly and like the workout's over and everyone's just like foam-rolling and laughing and shooting the breeze. And then in the gym time comes and you raise your voice and you say like, put some weight on. What are you doing? And you can see that they're like, oh, I thought we were friends. How could you say that? Try we try that we try to make sure that we talk to the athletes, and we talk all the time. Like, we're not your friends. Like, we're not your friends. One day we'll be your friends if you want, but that day is not today, and that day is not until you move on to usually junior or college hockey. And even then, we're still going to push you. But it's funny to see that because some of the athletes get really upset. There's one athlete, the same one that said that what did I say? Disparaged her or whatever, derogatory comments or, oh yeah, she hates me, which is okay. I don't mind because I'm not gonna ever apologize for telling the truth to her, and didn't say it in a mean way, but didn't like.
It doesn't matter if you are who you are. Like just, and this could be someone like us who's ultra competitive, holds kids accountable, wants to push them, wants to see them succeed, and will do that through like intensity. Let's say that. Or you're the opposite of us, where you do it very, very quiet, monotone, like nice, like very friendly. It doesn't matter. If you are who you are, 20% of people won't like you. You'll be the nicest guy in the world. And 20% are going to want what we give them. So you can't make everybody happy. You got to go into that knowing. And I say this to my parents, man, like 2 of your kids are going to absolutely hate me. 10 of them are going to love me. The other 5, I have to try to get on my side. And that's it. Like there's nothing you can do. 2 out of every group are going to hate you no matter who you are. The nice guy, the intense guy, or the guy in between. They're going to hate you. It just changes which 2 they are.
Yeah, I'm batting about 50%. Not gonna lie.
Well, then 50% is too many kids hating you.
Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But like I just tell. I was like, and you and I are similar. We'll coach and chirp, and it's funny to see which kids respond to a chirp, and then which kids do not respond to a chirp. Actually, it brings into another conversation. I had a coach call me from a different organization, and I played a game and they lost because he was asking my advice, see if he did it right, played it or handled it well. They lost 1-0, and in the meeting, and I know this coach, like he's not a yeller, he's not a screamer, and he just said like, listen, I thought we played really well. Uh, Obviously, we didn't score any goals. It's hard to win games when we don't score. You know, yeah, I thought he said goalie. I thought you played well, and you know, I thought that one is one we could have back. However, moving forward, this is our next game. This is our next goal. And he said by the time that he walked from the dressing room upstairs, that goalie's parent was already waiting at the door, confronting them, saying, how could you single out my child like that? How could you yell at them? And then he had to say, like, this is not what I said. And then he had to go back downstairs and address it to the goalie. But like going back to it, it's like you're not going to solve everyone. But I think a lot of kids are so quick to, they just hear that, they think that they're being like yelled at when someone tries to hold some accountability to their actions. And I just want to say, you guys knew what the stuff that I went through and that what people before me went through, you guys would collapse.
But okay. I just we'll be quick on this. I like it. And this is coming from me, who's the hard app. I don't know if I like it because, okay, first of all, 1-0, right? Yes, okay. Even if it's a bad goal, if you say that in a room, now every other kid in the room thinks it's a bad goal, right? Maybe they didn't think that, right? But the goalie knows. Like, you give a bad goal, do you know?
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh, I wonder if that's it. No, like, you know it's bad. You don't have to tell them it's bad. And the guys that I'm coaching with this year, we've had a couple of those, and I'm like, I don't like it. I'm like, they know. If you want to say to the goalie, hey, like, played great, but that's probably one you want to have back, why can't you do that just in a one-on-one conversation? Right? Because the difference of calling out, let's say you call out a defenseman for a bad one-on-one. That's a single moment in the game where he probably had another 20, right? But he gives up a one-on-one, the goalies can still bail him out. Nobody's bailing out the goalie. I just don't like coaches going in and calling out a goalie because, like I've said before, it's not an effort thing. Like a forward decides if they want to block a shot, right? They can go out there. They know where the shooting lane is. They flamingo or they get outside the shooting lane. That puck gets through. That is a conscious decision to not block that shot, right? And you can't argue with me because I have one player that has 27 block shots this year. I have another player that has 1. You're playing the same line. So you tell me which guy wants to block the shot, right? You have a centerman who decides whether he wants to tie up his centerman after a faceoff, or if he tries to win it forward. Like, they're making those conscious decisions. So I just don't like it. Like, I don't like it. Whether or not it was a bad goal, you scored 0 goals. Go in there, just say, hey, man, we lost 1-0. We got a great goaltending. We all played well. Let's get the hell out of here. But on the parent side, like, if I walk out of the room and a parent wants to talk to me after a loss, they better have a helmet on. Don't go and talk to your coach after a loss. That is suicide.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I definitely see that in that perspective. I think I'll give that coach a call, talk to him a little bit. I think as where I kind of got lost in the sauce is just sometimes even if you agree or not disagree with getting called out, you're not always getting yelled at. And the amount of times that I have usually my girl athletes says our coach yelled at us. I'm like, okay, for what? Like, he yelled at us because, you know, he thought we were too deep. Like, okay, did he yell at you though? Or did he just say in video, I think you can be a little bit more aggressive here, whether that technically is right or wrong. And I have to ask them, we're like, did he yell at you? Or like, well, I don't know. Like, listen, your head coach probably doesn't know anything about goaltending, and that's okay. But like, there's a difference between them yelling at you and then them saying something about your game.
And like, okay, are we soft? Like, his goalie, are we soft though? Like, I don't want to be hip or contradict what I just said. But if you're in a video session and the coach calls out a goal that you gave up in a video session, right? And then we're like, oh, he's yelling at me. Did you sit there and watch the other half of the video session? The other 95% of the video session called out everybody.
Yeah.
Video session, you were literally circling guys and being like, look at where he goes. The entire video session is calling guys out. But the second your goalie gets called out, they're soft up to be like, well, he's yelling at me.
Yes, which is crazy.
Turning up a little bit.
As is crazy because I yell at them. That's what I don't know. Like, I am super hard at my goalies. And like, I tell them, like, listen, is this what you want? Yes. Okay. If this is truly what you want, I'm going to be harder. If you feel like it's too much, just tell me. But I'm going to push you because I know what it takes to get there. And I know what you need to do. And I know what you lack of talent.
Did you ever tell the story about, I think, was it Bill Pearson, who just played the goal you gave up like 5 times over and over and didn't say a word?
No, that was actually, you know what? That was two coaches. That was both Sheldon Keefe and Mel Pearson did that. But Sheldon Keefe's was the puck was like dumped in from the blue line and it flew up out of my glove, and we got it, broke out, turned it over at the red line. They came in and then scored off the run, and he replayed that. And it just told me, he's like, if you catch that, we don't break out, we don't turn it over, and we don't give up that goal. And he played it like 8 times. I was like, and then Mel did that too, where he just played repeat. I was this acting or not, but and then I remember we did that to my freshman year, both Phoenix and I, where it was someone on Lake State, and we just watched his saves, and he basically the long and the short of it was like, why can't you guys make saves like that?
So in your video session, your head coach showed all the saves the other goalie and the other team was making against you guys. And then he says, Dave, why can't you guys be as good as that guy?
100%. Oh yeah. It's just like, we talk about the Sheldon Keefe threatening to trade me for giving up a goal, the elephants in the room, and why they can't win games is me, which also probably was that game for sure. What else? Was another good one, but literally my junior year when Phoenix left. So Mel was so mad that he didn't call me all summer. Never once checked in to see like, hey, like how's your summer going? Better be a good summer because you're our only goalie. We get to our first game. Doesn't say anything. Doesn't say a single word to us for the first month and a half for me. A month and a half practice. We get to our first game in Lake State. Pre-game skates over. Go back to the hotel. Nap. Wake up from nap. Still don't know who's playing. And for whatever reason, they let the goalies room together all at college. And I just woke up and I told our freshman, I was like, hey, like I'm just gonna start because I'm a junior. It's just like, yeah, okay, sure. And we ended up no names in the board who's starting, all the lineups for no goals. And we ended up going 10-0 that year. And he didn't say a single word to me, positive or negative, until we won our 10th game in a row. And it was something, and it was, Jamie, thought you did okay. So like, and it's just like, that's just what it happens. It's just the way it goes, whether it's right or wrong. Some coaches are like that. And that's it. Some coaches trade you because you get a scholarship. And that's the way sports work.
Let's just try to get out of our goalie bubble and think that everything is like a negative towards us. Like in a video session. Yeah, if he's showing you a bad goal, don't forget the other 15 videos he showed calling out your defenseman and your centerman and their forecheck and the back check and the power play and the penalty kill. Like if a coach is calling out a power play, he's not calling out one player. He's calling out 5. Like every guy on the ice he's calling out. If it's a bad penalty kill, he's calling out 4. Like not just being, the coach is picking on me because he showed a video. No. Maybe he is. Maybe you need it. Right? But I don't want to contradict back to what he said in the room. Because in the room, the one thing about a 1-0 loss is like you're discrediting everything else he did to the players. The players have to understand, like, the goal is allowed to give up a goal. Like, if shutouts were easy, we'd have 100 shutouts a year. There's a reason we get a shutout about 5% of our starts. And even that is, like, pretty tight. Right? So let's say, like, if you're getting 20 starts a game, 1 shutout, that was pretty close to being about average, right? Yeah. So 5, that means 95% of the games that we play as goalies, we're going to get scored. So we have to go into that game thinking, like, yeah, this is probably 95% of those games where they're going to score on me today. Try.
Okay. Originally, we were going to talk about overcoaching and undercoaching, but I think we're going to save that because something popped in my brain that it's November. Probably people are going to start thinking about this stuff. When should you, family, parents, and the goalie, when should you start to look at a different organization? Like, let's say, I know right now you have open borders of Ontario in the States. Pretty sure it's open borders and stuff. But let's just say, your organization, your home center has goalies, whether you are better than them or not, politics aside, and you're not on the tier 1 AAA team. when is it time to look to go to a different organization to play tier one? Or when do you grind it out, just try to make that spot? What should you look for as a family?
I would say right around middle November. You should have first of all, like the first thing you got to do is have a completely unbiased evaluation of whether or not you are better than the kids that are playing on the tier one or the AAA team, right? Unbiased. That's the thing is like, if a team is losing, you can just be like, oh, their team's losing. Like they need goalies. No, maybe they don't. Maybe they need defensemen. Maybe their goalies are doing better than they should be based off of the situations that they're facing. So you need to have a completely unbiased evaluation of, is your kid better than the kids that are playing in your home center at the higher level? If you think that they are, then the next question you have to ask yourself are, if I see that those goalies aren't very good, then how many other people in the area or surrounding area also think that they're better than that kid? And how many of those kids will come to try or reach out to the coach? Because, like I said, we live in this bubble, like this very personalized individual bubble where when you send a coach an email, you think you are the only family sending that email. We're getting hundreds, right? We're getting hundreds of emails. So you're not the only ones doing it. And that's the first thing that we think of. So now you got to ask yourself, where else, whether kind of is my child better than their top tier goal? So you have to have, like I say, you're going into like a tryout season or your recruiting season with like plan A, B, C, D. Like I wouldn't go in with less than 4 different plans and 4 different like ideas. And then as you get to, let's say January, you're probably down to 3. And then when you get to say February, you're probably at around 2.5. That makes sense. So it's tough. I get it really. It's tougher now with open borders. Not saying that it was easy when it was closed borders, because it's not. Because same thing, you get like pigeonholed sometimes and then you can't go outside of your area. But it's like you said it before. It's like if you're that much better, then they're going to take you. And that's the thing is you have to be better, right? And the one thing with open borders and like 100% honesty and transparency, if you're a coach and you have really good core and you have really good goaltending, those coaches are probably making commitments to those kids before the recruiting season because he's comfortable, because they're good. So you may be better, but the coach, if he's returning, is comfortable with those goalies because he's seen them play 30 or 40 games. He may not be looking. So the very first question that you should be asking is my child better? The second question is to the coach, are you looking to upgrade your goaltending or are you happy with your goaltending? They may not tell you the truth, right? But you as a parent just have to ask the question.
Yeah, it makes sense. So like you've been through this significantly more than I have. So I'm trying to help parents, trying to make decisions. It's tough because I do evaluate and recruit, but like we are always both brutally honest in our answers. I think the biggest thing that I missed there, because there's one athlete I have in particular who's playing, they're actually playing up a year at tier 2, and they are like if I be double A, and they're dominating a year above. I'm trying to not to identify who I'm talking about. They're playing a year up above and they're dominating. And they could play the year below at tier 1. They just didn't make the team because I honestly think that they are neck and neck skill wise. The other goalie just looks better, was more goalie like, more athletic, and so actually not more athletic, but there's more goalie like, and so on appearance wise they make the team. But I think in terms of puck stopping ability, they would be equal, if not the tier 1, tier 2 goalie would probably be better. But it's like that tier 2 goalie's never played tier 1. It's hard to crack that spot. And so the night now I'm having conversations with the dad, as the whole family. I said, like, you need to have options. But the thing that I missed, sorry, go back to the show. The thing that I missed was I didn't say you need to be so much better that it's stupid for them not to take you. Like that's the point that I missed, and that's a super hard thing to. It's not like you just wake up and just get so much better.
Because
And
the thing is, it's the may, right? The may. He may be better. Yeah, we could change you, and you might come in and be better, but you might not be. And that's the thing is when you haven't done it before, and these guys have done it at that level, and you kind of know where you are, and like especially if you're a coach that's coaching a team and you're getting a return, so you're returning as coach, that entire season is their tryout. Like I'm not gonna pick a goalie on 7-day tryout because I've already seen this guy play 60 games. So it's like as a coach, you know if you are trying to make an upgrade or if you're changing a goalie probably by playoffs. Like you're like, like I just don't trust this kid. He's inconsistent, or he's not getting any better. He's been here the whole time, and now you're watching. Coaches should be watching, and you just see like a kid in a lower level that's just coming. Like you're just like he's coming, he's coming, he's coming. But it's always a may. Yeah, you may be better. You may not be better.
yeah, but I'm just trying to think of the questions. But basically, this is just me asking you questions so I can help. Them. But there's so many people that. Sorry, go ahead.
It goes back to like your experience, right? So you have a kid who's playing an underager up an age group, but playing at a lower level. He's dominating. Okay. What happens at the lower level? There's less puck movement. The puck is moved a little bit slower. So they hold the puck a little lower. The deception on the shots are a little bit less, right? A little bit less puck skill. Coaching generally is a little bit more detailed at the higher level. So yeah, your goalie may be dominating at the higher age group, but because it's the lower level, it doesn't mean he'll be able to go down to his age group and play at the higher level because it's not so much how hard the shots are, how fast the game physically moves. It's how quickly they move the puck. So this is the debate between like the East Coast League and the AHL, right? And then you go from the AHL to the NHL because now we take ages out, right? Everybody's the same age. But just because the puck moves at a fraction of a second faster every single touch, there's guys that are all-stars in the AHL that just can't transition and play because the game is different. So the game at AA, even though it's older, is significantly different than the game at AAA at a younger age group. It's a different game still.
So what outside of working with the goalie coach to get better and get all the off ice stuff, which to the boys' credit, he's finally like he's doing it, and he's not an athletic goalie, but we're building some athleticism. It's finally getting there. What do they need to do if it's time to look for a new organization? Like, how would you guide them through that? And this is mostly for the parents listening that might be in a similar situation.
So the first thing you have to ask the parent is like, okay, what is your radius? Where are you willing to go? Okay, now like in Ontario, there's less building than in the US. So it's more like, okay, like where are you willing to drive? Like that's the person. So you say you live in Caledonia. You're willing to drive to say Guelph, Burlington, Brantford, Cambridge, Southern Tier, Niagara North, Hamilton. Like that's our radius. Okay. So now you have the idea of the pool that they are willing to travel this far. And now it's like, okay, what's the budget? What can you afford? Because they are not the same, right? Brantford is like $2,900. Hamilton like 8,000. Okay, like big disparity, a big difference. So that's number two. So that now may dwindle. If the parents are wealthy and they're comfortable, then maybe they're like, yeah, we don't care. We just want to give our kid the best opportunity. Okay. Now you look at that pool and you're like, okay, which coaches are new coaches? Which coaches are coming back? Okay. And that's not a positive or a negative. It's just different, right? You have a new coach. Maybe he wants to, I find new coaches are more willing to make changes with players because they haven't coached them before, right? So when you start coaching a kid, you start to find things in those kids that you like: character, work ethic, attitude, all of those things, right? So it's harder for you to cut a kid who may be on your third line because you love things that he does: wins faceoffs, kills penalties for you. But you look at the score sheet and he's got 7 points at the end of the year, but it's like that kid's untouchable for a returning coach. New coaches don't see that until they get on the bench and they're interacting with those kids, right? So that's one. That's why I say it's when it's different. A returning coach knows whether or not he wants to change the split. So that's the next thing is like, so you got your radius, you got your cost, and then I would look at which coaches are returning, which coaches are new. And then you start to kind of pick things apart. And then you dwindle your list down to A, B, C, and D. And that's how I started every single year.
No, that makes sense. I think those are fantastic. I think I missed the coaches part where I didn't really think of that. Yeah, no, it's good. It's a tough thing because I think there are a lot of kids that get. There's only 2 goalies on a team, and usually when you're evaluating in tryouts, there's at the very least there's 3 goalies that could all be on that team.
Yeah,
One of them's going to be the odd goalie out, and that it becomes tricky. You and kids in Ontario or major cities in Canada have a lot more of an advantage, as is usually a AAA team. There's a handful of AAA teams within like a 2-hour radius. 2 hours being kind of like the almost like kind of maximum most people are willing to drive. Where here, unless you're in Detroit, we're the only, there's Chicago for us. This is West Michigan. You have to drive 2 hours, 2.5 hours to Detroit teams, or you could drive to Chicago, 2.5 hours that way. Like it's top. Or if you're playing in Atlanta, you have 1 AAA team, or Nashville, 1 AAA team, which is why we have a lot of kids that bill it. And that then the money, the maturity of, are you willing to send your child away to go bill it as like a 12-year-old or things like that? Actually, I had that conversation on Monday with a goalie out of California, where they don't know if it's to keep playing AAA California or to go to like an academy and stuff. And the biggest thing we said is like, you guys are the parents. Do you think your child is mature enough? And are you, as parents, ready to let your child go? You're like, no. Gosh, let's play at home 1 more year and let's reassess next year. And they're already playing.
That's wild. Like, I just want to hug my kid every night and kiss him on the forehead every morning. Like that's wild. It's bananas. Like, I just don't understand that.
I think, to be fair, I don't think I have any parents that are like super excited for their kids to go bill it, but it's the only way for them to like crack a lineup or get an opportunity. And so actually that's the other thing where like, if you send a kid to like a true prep school, a true academy, not like these virtual schools that are done inside of a storage unit somewhere, you at least you're getting almost like a little college experience. You have professors, you have TAs and people that are watching your dorms and keeping you accountable, and like it's meant for kids your age. That is wild to think about, like the number of kids, the kids that bill it that are like 12, 10, like 10 to 14 years old that bill it just to play AAA. Actually, we have a lot of kids here that their parents will do with them here, which is the upside of a remote job. Like if you can work remotely, then it's a lot easier. And it's crazy what we do for sports. This is why my kid's just going to join a band.
As long as he plays bass.
But my kid is going to be the lead singer of a deathcore band by the time they're like 10.
I saw, like, flipping gears, sir, and I was just talking like dudes. I saw you went to a Hawthorne Heights concert the other day.
Yeah. So it was.
Did Fran go with you to that?
No. So for people listening, my wife does not like heavy metal music. She humored me 2 months ago. We went to a band called Counterparts. They're from Hamilton and they are heavy. She did not enjoy herself as I expected. I told her, I was like, you don't have to come if we're just going to leave early. Like, I don't want to leave early. Like, I want to stay from the headliner. Did we end up leaving early? Yes, we ended up leaving early because that's what husbands do. But she didn't come to this one. And so it was Chiodos was the headliner. Hawthorne Heights, a band called Amir, which is like really, really heavy. And then I missed the first band because I was coaching. But Hawthorne Heights is kicking, man. And you know what? To their credit, like their whole shtick was Like, we know emo music is popular right now. We know that we're the old guys, and we know that everyone in the stand, like everyone in the crowd, is like 30 to 45, and you were all angsty teenagers. So let's just relive our high school, like live our high school days, and that was their whole thing. And they were good. And they even said too, they're like, we know that we're a little bit more of a nostalgic band, so we're just gonna play our old bangers, and we'll play one or two new songs, but we want you to feel like you're in high school. And it was
I
like,
love it.
and I was like, I love that self-awareness. Like, I love that self-awareness. And then Chiodos was on a 20-year anniversary tour to All As Well as well. And you know what? Like, I don't know if anyone listens to Chiodos or metal music. That might have been one of the best performances I've seen a frontman do. Sounded perfect. It was the first show of the whole tour, so like energy was high, vibes were high, and he was on. So 10 out of 10, good concert. I felt very nostalgically emo, very, very high school, although I never grew out of it. It's not a phase. It's our style.
You never grew out of it. Like I just turned 41 2 days ago, and I'm still listening to punk rock from the late 90s and early 2000s. And I'm on the way to a hockey game, and I am blasting Silverstein, and Weston is trying to do like his pregame routine. And I'm like, does this not just get you jacked up? And this, you're like, no. Like, I'm like, he's listening to Drain the Blood by Silverstein on the way to his tournament games.
What's funny is like, you know, but I got really into like heavy music and emo music in like high school, and that was before like grade 8 to grade 11 before I could drive. And so my dad was driving me, and my dad just credit would let me listen to whatever I want. So like original Bring Me the Horizon, where it's like just heavy. But my dad really got into Chiodos and Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, which is kind of like a middle ground band. So like I texted him, I was like, I'm going to see Chiodos. He's like, oh, no way, like send me videos. And he misses that because it reminds him of our car rides when we were driving. But Weston isn't on the Silverstein train.
No, he's yeah, I blame YouTube and TikTok because it's all that. He calls it funk, but it's not funk. Like it's like electronic, like all these like Japanese, like electronic stuff. It's all attached to like shorts on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know. I'm the old guy that's trying to make him listen to songs that are played with instruments by people. And I'm like, I literally said to him, I go, this song is cool because it has drummer in it, Weston. He's like, this is terrible. So,
You know who
I mean,
is releasing a new album? Alexis on Fire.
I saw that.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know if you saw the album art, but they did it Alexis on one line, on fire on the other line, so that people stop saying Alex is on fire. It's Alexis on fire. But actually, I've been on a very big City and Color kick recently.
You just crying in your room or what?
Oh yeah, no, even still, like sometimes like when I work out, like it's not going to be like heavy music, but when I listen to the newest Alexis on Fire, and then I was like, oh man, what'd slap right now is like Young Cardinals. And and then I was like, well, why wasn't that my first dance song at the wedding? That's stupid. And then but then I was like, well, you know, Dallas Green is pretty solid. Let's put out some City and Color. And I was like, oh, I haven't listened to City and Color in a while. And then now it's just like it's been on repeat on my headphones. And it's such a good Canadian band. Shout out St. Catharines, Ontario.
Oh yeah, they are same thing. When I first got into them was the Green album, and I thought it was Alex on Fire too for like 3 years. And then Boiling Frogs came out, and I was like, this is nonstop. That was back when I had the book of like the big binder of like 300 CDs, and you got to put the CD in. Yeah, every kid listening to this is this is the only parents that listen to this. They're all laughing right now. Every kid is like, "What's a CD?" Yeah. What about tape cassettes? Like when I was my first pregame was like a Walkman with like headphones that were foam and like tape. And if you wanted to hear a song, you had to fast forward it. Like, man, like
When I
or like your first pregame song.
I don't know what the first one would have been. So basically when I went to Pembroke, so at 16, 17, I listened to the exact same songs in order from that whole year until the day I retired. It was like, because I was so superstitious and like rigid in my routine. but it was like this exact same order. So all my pregame songs were they had to be before like 2008, and they were all just metal bangers. But I really don't know what my pregame song. Like, what was yours?
Mine was Bad Habit by Offspring. Now, so this was, I'd have to put it on. There's no, like, my parents would have to listen to this song. And for anybody who doesn't know the song Bad Habit by The Offspring, go and listen to it right now. And I'm like a 9-year-old kid rocking out to this song. And my poor mother, my dad got it. He didn't care, but my poor mother thought I was going to end up in prison.
That's so fun.
That was that and Basket Case by Green Day off the Dookie album, 1994. Those were my first two pregame songs that, like, before I knew anything, I'd get jacked up before I left the car and then spend the next hour, like, bringing myself back down to play a game.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so this might not be the same song as the Offspring or Green Day, but what is the one song consistently, like your PR song? Like if you're gonna go set a PR on a back squat and you just need to get jazzed up, but what's the one song that you put on every time? Doesn't matter the circumstances, that it just slaps.
True Friends, Remy and Ryland.
Oh wow, I would have never have guessed that.
I love that.
Good too. I'm gonna have to listen to this. I'm gonna do some cardio today. I'll probably listen to that.
Or what else is a good one? Break Shit by Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, not even gonna censor that because that's the name of the song. You know what? New metal is on a kind of a kickback. Well, mine is Bleed It Out by Linkin Park.
Oh, that too. And Hands Held High by Linkin Park, that too.
It's like, Bleed It Out, 10 out of 10. Like, it actually just does it best. Doesn't miss one bit. You know what? We would break the fourth wall. Let us know in the comments. What's your pregame song? If anyone's still listening past this point. Hopefully someone goes in Spotify's or Apple Music's Alexa's on Fire, because if you're into even remotely heavy music in the newer age, like pre-Iron Maiden, Metallica, stuff like that, Alexa's on Fire is probably one of the bands that every band cites as an influence in like screamo metal. So, and they're just great Canadian bands. You know who's slept on too? Billy Talent.
Billy Talent, yeah. Hey man, like Southern Ontario, Toronto, South, West, like good bands. Silverstein, like Some Fire, Billy Talent, like a lot of good bands. Arkells, like big Art Mill band. Arkells are definitely not metal, but
No,
big
Webster.
Yeah. Oh, that's Webster too, yeah.
There's a lot of
what is it? Walk on the Earth? That band that they're on. Walk the Earth. They're from Burlington.
Are they?
Yeah, they're from Burlington.
I didn't know that.
The Seal, big Hamilton band. Yeah, that was my high school band.
That was your high school band. I don't know if you guys know they did open for Silverstein.
We did, yep.
What was the sequel to what?
Oh yeah, 20.
All right.
Never back before.
Any party shots or shout outs this week?
Well, I did my shout out before to my kid. He was unbelievable. Proud dad moment. Like I really I knew he was consistent. Like he's consistent. Like he gives us a chance when he plays on bad teams. I always questioned, and he's gonna listen to this and like punch me in the head now. I always questioned if he had that clutch gene that Ben thinks doesn't exist. If he was able to like elevate his game in a big moment. Like I never seen him do it yet. And then he did it 3 times this weekend. And I was like, okay, it's there. Like quarterfinals, we got outplayed by York Simcoe. We won 3-2. Shout out to his goalie partner, Luca Ellis, who was unreal against the Buffalo Junior Sabres in the semifinals. We ended up winning 3-2. And then Weston, we beat Guelph 3-2 in the finals. And same thing. And I'd say the last 6 or 7 minutes of both of his games on Sunday, we were pinned in and he made just save after save and was calm. Carey Price calm. Like sociopath, probably have to get him therapy later because there's something wrong with calm. And I'm on the bench screaming and jumping and kicking water balls, and this kid is just like.
I love that he's able to turn it on and off. Cause like whenever the brief periods of time I see Weston, he's a shy kid, but then he's always doing something. You got your kids outside doing a lot of things, and then you say, he's goofing off in the dressing room. He's definitely one of those culprits. But I love that he's starting to learn how to dial it in, and that's awesome.
Yeah, super proud. And it might suck this weekend, and I'll have to,
Well,
reevaluate my entire life. And but for this week, I'm just gonna have I'm gonna enjoy a little bit of the successes.
We'll reevaluate. I don't really know if I have a party shot or shout out. I hope everyone. I added the first episode of the PED, performance enhancing discussions that Coach Ben and I do on this podcast network, just because I don't think the world needs another podcast, and we talk about hockey training. So if you enjoy that, let me know. And actually, the shout out I'll give is to my boy Ray Serrano down in Charlotte. If you are in North Carolina or South Carolina, the Carolinas, check out Charlotte Hockey Lab. It's his hockey center. It's he's got 2 rapid shots, which are like they pass, shoot, they track your shot, they measure your shot. It's a skill development. He's got synthetic ice there to do goalie training, to do player skill development, whether you're on shoes, blades, or wheels. They also have a skating treadmill, and it's really the only one in the southern states. So if you know anyone that is around there, if you are down there and visit, go check out Charlotte Hockey Lab. I went, it was the first time seeing it in person, and it was bigger than I thought. It was sicker than I thought, sicker than it looks on the internet. So shout out Ray and shout out Charlotte Hockey Lab. So go check it out, because he's a great guy. It's a great business, and it's a really good way to get skill development without having to pay for $500 an hour ice that you have to pay down in Charlotte. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll see everyone next episode.